Hi, everyone. It's Sarah, the host of Unmuzzled, a podcast. We spell that P-A-W-D because around here it's all things animals, which I love. I prefer animals over humans. But we have an amazing human on today, which is very important. And she is the wealth of knowledge. I just got done researching her, cramming last minute. I had already researched her, but I got a little tour of her facility in California, and it is gorgeous. Gorgeous. She does things the right way. Before we get to her presenting sponsors, you're up.
Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a huge yard, they are the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog or dogs. Their grab-and-go pouches make warm weather fun and easy breezy. Whether you're traveling, enjoying a long walk, patio season, or family and friend gatherings, Bark Pouch's irresistible, all human-grade treats let you focus on what matters most: time with your dog or dogs and loved ones. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet.
Thank you, sponsors. I appreciate it. And I'm going to bring in Dr. Lily Chen right now. Hi, Dr. Chen.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. This is fun.
Yeah, it's going to be really like you're a wealth of knowledge, which I love. And I think, especially nowadays and in what I do with canine cancer, and really, we help horses, rats, guinea pigs, cats, everything. You hear a lot of like integrative pet care, and I think it is like a huge thing right now, and it's a buzzword. But I really want to get into like, what is it? Like, what do you do? How did this start? And it is really important for people to understand and know what it is. So can we first go back a little to, where did you obviously love animals, but where did this all start?
Where did this all start? I've always known that I wanted to work with animals because my parents will tell you, like, ever since I was 3, like I would bring like stray puppies home or kittens or rabbits or mice or all these things. So this has always been my path. So when I was like 6 or 7, my parents told me this, that I told them that one day I'm going to have an animal hospital that doesn't feel like a hospital. It feels like a home. Because all the animal hospital I've ever known, like when you walk in, it's really sterile, or it's kind of chemically, or there are just a lot of like dogs or pets in cages. And just to me, even the little version of me, when I see animals in cages, I just felt really sad for them. So I know they're in a hospital to get better, but I really wanted them to be, I feel like they needed to be in an environment where they're not stressed and they could get better. So that was like the 6-year-old me. And that grew up, went to vet school, did all the things, did like a medicine and surgical internship, worked in really busy conventional hospitals, and went to a lot of different hospitals to work as a relief because I really wanted to see all the different types of animal hospitals out there, like emergency, specialty, general. And I really found my passion in kind of going outside of just traditional veterinary practice. After like being out for, I want to say like 5 years, I started to see that there are a lot of chronic diseases or issues that conventional medicine just didn't have very good solutions for. I feel like we're masking the symptoms, or we're kind of prolonging life, but we are not really addressing the root of the problem. We're just covering it up. We're making the symptoms a little bit better with like drugs, or chronic medicine, or certain supplements. So I started to, my first training was in acupuncture. So I began studying acupuncture because it actually worked for me and my chronic issue. And I was actually a skeptic at first. I was like, how do inserting needles into like just these seem like random points in the body actually generate any changes. But it worked for me. Like after 2 sessions of acupuncture, for something that like Western medicine has not been able to do for me for like 10 years of my life, the doctors were just like, well, just take a bunch of medicine and then never cure the issue. After 2 sessions of acupuncture, like I was pretty much cured. So I was like, oh my God, if this works for me, like it's gotta work for animals and their chronic issues too. So I got certified in acupuncture and then just started like doing acupuncture on really any pets, any disease, because it's one of those do no harm treatment. Like the worst thing that can happen with something like acupuncture is nothing. Like doesn't make anything worse. And then I started to see some really incredible results. The biggest one was that I had a dog that came in and mom was actually going to euthanize because he couldn't stand up anymore because he had such bad arthritis. And I had known this dog for so long and I couldn't do it. And I said, can we just try a session of acupuncture? Let's just see, because we're here and there's nothing to lose. So I did that. I put needles in and let him, sit there for 10 minutes and took the needles out. And then he stood up. He just stood up. And mom was like, he couldn't do that for months. And I'm like, well, there's hope. So from there, from acupuncture is really where I began to kind of went on this integrative journey. So for me, integrative just means that we're using all the tools that can be available to us. I do always start with like a very conventional base, right? Like making sure that we've diagnosed diseases properly, that we are talking about options, we're using drugs or surgery appropriately. But we're also really mindful of our goals. Like, are we just masking symptoms or are we trying to induce real changes in the body and reversing the underlying issues? And from there, there's so many modalities, and I certainly don't think it's something that I have masters, that I am always a student. But, from acupuncture, I began studying like Chinese herbal therapy. And from there started to really dive into things like ozone therapy, really beginning to understand like microbiome therapy, using nutrition and diet as a resource, and things like essential oils and flower essences, regenerative therapy. And cancer has been really near and dear to my heart because throughout using this integrative approach, I found that a lot of my cancer pets actually do so much better with integrative therapy than just traditional therapy alone. And so now I am really focused on helping cancer patients get better. So that's kind of in a nutshell my journey to here. I'm really fortunate to have worked with like so many awesome like holistic veterinary professionals and experts and specialists. And it just, I think it's such a small community. Those of us are doing the integrative work. So it's just, we work together to really just bring more options out there so that people and their pets can have these options.
So, in your opinion, do you feel like this could be the future of vet med? Like,
I think it should really be the future. We can see the shift in how people address their own health already, right? And I think it kind of goes together as people are becoming more aware of their own health and things that affect their health, things like lifestyle, right? And your diet. I think intuitively everyone knows like that is the foundation of health, and it just naturally translates to pets. And it's so easy to me and so intuitive that I can't imagine a world where we are not moving in that direction, right? So I think it has to be something that is going to naturally occur, that we pay more attention to these type of modalities.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned, like you haven't like mastered everything because it's impossible
Yeah.
the way technology goes, the way things are. And I love your quote on your website. Integrative medicine is an art form, and I think like that's so true because some things you just don't know. Like you have to try and see if it works. And you really need your clients to be receptive to, the one that came in for euthanasia. Let's
Mhm.
try this. And I feel like that is a bit of the first hurdle. And until you like
Mhm.
experience acupuncture,
Yeah.
something clicks in your brain like, oh, like if this is working for me, let's try this on dogs. But or cats or whatever, people need to like be able to like receive that. And I think that is so important because I think some people rush to, oh, I have to do chemo and radiation. But then
Mhm.
we have a lot of clients too that will try something like mushrooms or try something different, ozone therapy. It's like, oh my God, my dog is like actually thriving and not sicker than when I took the dog in, with cancer to do chemo.
Mhm.
Which can be so hard on dogs. And again, I'm not saying disclaimer, Sarah. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong, but it's so nice to have options, and I think that's what you
Mhm.
offer.
Yeah, I think, with that notion, the biggest thing I actually tell any families with pets with cancer, okay? Like, here's the thing. I think traditionally we always think like, oh, cancer's terrible, cancer's bad. Let's get it out, like let's surgically cut it out, or let's poison it with chemo, or let's kill it with radiation. Like we treat cancer like it's this terrible thing that's invaded the body and we gotta like get it out any way we can. We forget that cancer actually is it's a mutation of normal cells, part of our own body, part of that pet's body. And it's actually like when you're diagnosed with cancer, it's kind of like a warning signal, like something has happened to that body that allowed that mutation to happen. So if we are just focused on getting it out and not actually addressing, okay, what happened in this body that allowed this mutation to happen and then to go unchecked for so many years? Because now we know by the time we diagnose cancer, like that trigger has been there or this disease has been going on usually for years. So by the time we diagnose it, the pets actually had it for years. Like what happened in this body that the immune system wasn't able to take care of that, it wasn't able to turn it off or do its job in returning to a normal state. I think a very important way to think about it also is that I do think sometimes we're so focused on killing the cancer, we're forgetting that they can actually live and thrive with cancer. But be really mindful of sometimes that the treatment choices that we make will affect the body in other ways other than cancer, so that we don't want to almost like we're killing the body by trying to kill the cancer. Like there's got to be like a balance where sometimes, and I've seen this time and time again, a pet can actually live with cancer, which is part of the body, for many years and thrive. Like for me, it's like when they have cancer, I want every day to be a good day. Like I just want their remaining days to be really good quality of life. And I think the integrative way is a really good kind of complement. Like even if you're choosing to do like chemo or radiation or surgery, like if you are able to look at some of these options, it can make their quality of life much better and reduce those side effects that come with these treatments. And giving that pet that quality of life, like again, like let's make them thrive, let's make every day like the happiest day ever, because they live in the present, they don't know they have cancer. So why spend a day feeling like nauseous or bad or having diarrhea or vomiting, like or not want to eat, right?
That made me teary just thinking about that. I mean, it's so true. Like you can live with it, and you can make it less hurtful to your body by going integrative. So It's hard. It's really hard. Because I assume too it could be more expensive, right?
It depends because I don't do traditional oncology care. I certainly have a lot of cancer pets that goes through chemo and radiation and surgery, and I would hear about like the cost of things. Like it's not cheap to have your pet on chemo radiation or do a big surgery, right? Is it costly? Yes, of course, because it takes commitment for integrative therapy. Again, I think because by the time, specifically for cancer, by the time you're diagnosed with cancer, it's been in the body for years. So if I'm truly trying to turn off that trigger, I'm undoing years of what's been happening in that body. So it's not something where I can just say do a few acupuncture sessions and be done. Usually it's a whole workup on finding out, like, is the microbiome healthy? Are we dealing with any toxins in the body? Does this pet have adequate nutrition? Is it actually absorbing nutrients like it's supposed to? Do we have any, say, like vitamin D deficiency? And then all of those things, all of those pieces will take some time to adjust. Like even if I'm adjusting for deficiency, I'm trying to heal the microbiome. It takes months and months because it took years to get here. So it's not without commitment, and certainly can be costly because it takes regular appointment to be able to kind of stay on top of these things.
And I mean, you, me have seen it time and again. I mean, people will go to the end of the earth to save their pet. Not just save their pet, to buy days, weeks, months. Even when the animal has lymphoma and it will have cancer forever, they will do whatever they can to try to buy time. And I know from experience that is hard. It's hard. It's hard emotionally. It's hard financially. It's hard. I mean, it's really, really hard. But I feel like with the talk of integrative oncology and integrative options in general for a dog's health, not even talking about cancer, it's just so nice to know that you don't have to pump all of this medication and drugs and needles and everything into a pet to try these new, and they're not necessarily all new, things. It's like, and I hear this again time and time again, it gives hope. Like, and all you want when you get a crappy diagnosis is some kind of hope for tomorrow. So kudos to you. For you, like, how hard is it because it is so evolving, how hard is it for you to kind of keep up with like what is the newest technology, innovation, things like obviously that you want there, and sometimes you might have to wait a bit just to be able to get it because it's expensive. But how hard is it, or even for you, like even time, like to try to learn new things? How tough is that part of it?
It's really tough. Like you have to really want it. I would say for now, at least the last 10 years, I am consistently enrolled in at least 4 to 6 courses or certification or mastermind each year because I love it. Like I think that's not everybody, right? Like not everyone is gonna want to be in that place of like being a student, all the time. But I love it. And you kind of have to keep doing it to be able to keep up because this isn't a field where you can learn it once and then that's it, right? Because the research is ever evolving, the treatment modalities are evolving, and it's not easy also to be able to go to one place and find all the things. Like it's like ozone therapy has, the places that we go for that, and microbiome and regenerative therapy or cancer therapy, like all the new things out there. Like you kind of have to find those niche. And now I'm starting to look probably more even in the human field. For example, mistletoe is a really good example. We started offering mistletoe injections earlier this year because of its promise in for cancer patients and IV therapy. Like IV vitamin C, and even things like IV glutathione, IV curcumin. Those are not things available in veterinary medicine. Like nobody really talks about it. So you have to start looking outside, and usually now it's more in the human field to go to like their conferences or their courses or look for experts that offer these things. So when I started my practice, what I did was the adjustment I had to make is my appointments start to run longer and longer, because what I needed was to have more time per appointment rather than have a lot of patients, because each patient its own unique body, and it takes a lot of time and effort to adjust the plan to them, and also to have enough time so I can research the conditions, the newest things out there, what's right for this patient, and then being able to free up my time to be able to go and get courses done and studies. I will tell you though, most of the time it's happening on the weekends. Like my Saturdays and Sundays are still taken up by a lot of the courses I take. So, that's kind of how I done it.
I mean, it says a lot about you because you care, and it is your life. Like it's your passion. So it makes sense. I really, too, like what you just said, and Dr. Fredrickson and I talked about this. I know he's a friend of yours, Dr. Dylan, who's a partner
I just
vet.
saw him.
Yeah, he's the partner vet of Live Like Rue, and I had just interviewed him for a little series that I'm editing for them, and we talked about how vets have become very corporate, and there's not a lot of mom and pop vets where from the receptionist to the vet techs to the vet to the medical director to the owner, that it Boulevard Vet is like that, where you can talk to and see and know everybody, and it's not like talking to a computer. And I won't name any of those vets, but a lot of them that Live Like Rue was working with became that, and it was impossible to get a hold of anybody. And that's why I love Boulevard. And when you just said about taking the time to be with your clients instead of jamming, all these 15-minute appointments in, like taking the time and getting to know the problem, getting the time to research what you just heard them say and trying to give feedback. It is so rare now to be able to find a vet like that, which now brings me to my next thing, which is just the way that your vet looks. It's very soft. It's very warm. You said you want every room to have a personality. There's a lot of purple, which is a very warm color. I'm sure you did like research on that. But Boulevard Vet, when they did their new construction, everything is soft. It's nice. There's fun wallpaper. It doesn't look so sterile. You walk in and there's like a bench with a cushion. There's, blanket. That part is so important to you as well.
Oh my God, yes. And for me, the pet, how we feel, and this is now scientifically proven too, how we feel as people, because we're so intimately bonded with our pets, that will transfer to them. And while we can't always know, I don't know, right? Like if pets care, if the walls are like purple or white, if they're decorations, or it's nice, or it smells good when you come in and you're not in a room full of like other pets, like other dogs barking, or you're a cat and there are other dogs there. I think people feel the difference, because one of the most common thing that I get from my new clients when they walk in is like, oh my God, the energy is just really good in here. And I think that is so important in a healing journey. People have to feel really good about where they're going for care for their pets. They have to not feel stressed, because I think that when they're not stressed, I bet their animals are a lot less stressed as well. So that part to me is hugely important. And the way my clinic developed was it's really organic, because I started with a house call. So I actually just went to their house, and that's their environment. It just got busy enough that I needed a place where people could come. But it started off with that concept of, if I can't make it to their home, I want them to come to my home. So I want this practice to feel like what it would be my home. So as far as like the color scheme and decoration, it's just like how I would decorate my home. And that's
I love it. I love it. Dr. Chen, thank you so much. I mean, honestly, I could talk to you for like 3 hours and this would be all amazing. But I do want to have you back on in a few months just to see what you've learned and the newest technology. And I really do think when you have a passion about something, it's because of an experience that you had, and that acupuncture session led you down this road. And I'm sure so many people are so thankful to have you in their life. So I really appreciate you coming on. You're brilliant. And I'll be following along with your journey.
awesome. Thank you. This was fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad we
awesome.
connected.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah, me too.
Dr. Chen, everybody. Go follow them along here. Here again is the website. Again, she's based in California. I know a lot of listeners, viewers, you're in California. Or just go to her website. So much great information on there. I really appreciate her coming on. We connected on email a few weeks back, and I finally was able to get back to her. Supporting sponsors, you're up.
Thank you so much to our supporting sponsors. Give the gift of joy and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card from Kimberly Kingen Photography. For more details, please visit her website at KimberlyKingen.com or contact her directly at her email, kimberly@kimberlykingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thek9pt.com. That's THEK9pt.com. Anything is Plausible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Check out Anything is Plausible. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526.
Supporting sponsors. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Chen. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye.